Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video here on the channel. Today it's going to be a cheeky little movie review for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein that is currently streaming on Netflix. So with any Del Toro film, you can expect it to be gothic, sexy, beautiful, like a visual masterpiece to look at. And when this was announced that he was going to be doing his own take on Frankenstein, he was going to be writing as well, not only directing, I was intrigued. And then I started to see photos of Oscar Isaac as Victor Frankenstein, and then we have Jacob Elordi, Australian actor, which I only just found out 2 weeks ago. The dude's from Brisbane, which, again, I was 2 years old when I found that out. It's crazy. Playing the creature, we also have Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz, like a pretty classy stacked cast. Now, the hype around this film, it's one of those things where you try and tape your expectations because everyone's going, it's a tour de force, it's the best film of the year. There was a very short cinematic run a couple of weeks ago, which I unfortunately missed out on. And like I said, it's now streaming on Netflix. Again, tried to taper my expectations with this one. It's the age-old tale of Victor Frankenstein creating the creature, and it's one of those things where Victor Frankenstein loses the absolute plot, and you know, the poetic irony of this all is he becomes the monster, and the monster becomes more human than him. And I always loved that with Frankenstein, with the story of Frankenstein. And throughout the years, we've had a lot of iterations, a lot of different looks of the creature. This is something very different, but also yet gothically beautiful when you look at all that prosthetic makeup on Jacob Elordi. So going into this, tapering my expectations, and after the 2 hour, 20 odd minute runtime, I fucking love this film, man. Warts and all, because by no means perfect, but still, this is impressive. And it's the visuals, because it's Del Toro, are worth the price of admission alone, or the price of a subscription to Netflix. I don't know. And I think that's going to be the biggest draw card with this thing. Like, you look at The Shape of Water, Pan's Labyrinth, the Hellboy films, even Blade 2, man. Like, you know you are going to get bang for your buck in terms of the visuals. Del Toro knows how to surround himself with a crew in front and behind the camera that looks after him because he looks after them, and he just his imagination is just fucking unbelievable, and this film is no exception. The sets, the costumes, the props, the makeup, everything is a visual spectacle. And I'm not blowing smoke, I'm not overblowing it. There are certain shots where you look at Oscar Isaac's Victor Frankenstein, he's out the front of his building where he creates the monster, and it just looks monolithic. It looks huge. I don't know if that was on purpose and they just wanted to make everything seem bigger, overblown, and these massive gothic structures. And in terms of the story, well, we know the story of Frankenstein and the creature. Again, it's the creation of the creature, and then the creator becoming the monster, and the monster becoming more human than the creator. Performances on a whole, like, everyone does a fucking stellar job. I think my gripes in this film lie in the fact that I wanted to see more of Mia Goth's character and Jacob Elordi's creature have more screen time and have their story be a bit more fleshed out, a bit more meat on the bone. To me, it kind of felt a bit rushed, and not an afterthought, but I definitely feel like there was something more that could have been done with those two, because I love seeing Frankenstein fall in love, and that thing where he has that childlike innocence. And you see him grow, you see him progress. He essentially starts out as a fetus, even though he's fucking 6'5". Like, Jacob Elordi's a tall dude, but you see him progress and then again become more mature, more adult than his creator. And he wants companionship, and I just wanted to see more of that. Now, the way this story is structured, the way the story's told, the way it's written, the way Del Toro wrote this, it's a bit different. It's from the perspective of Victor Frankenstein, and then it's from the perspective of the creature. And what I love is when the film starts, it just gets straight into it. There's no fuck around factor. It's quite an action heavy set piece to begin with, and the creature is already established at that point. But then we go to Victor Frankenstein's point of view, and we see a bit of a backstory with his childhood, and then the eventual creation of the creature. And then we switch gears, and then we see it from the creature's perspective, because at that point, he's then able to communicate. And perfect segue, Jacob Elordi's performance as the creature. Fucking incredible, man. Inspiring, hypnotic. It was just brilliant to watch. In terms of the makeup done by Mike Hill and the incredible effects crew, it's a vast departure from what we're used to, where we see an ugly Frankenstein for the most part. And they're utilizing the fact that Elordi is quite handsome, and oh lordy, is he handsome. Sorry, I just had to get that one in there. I'm good, I'm done. Like, I'm fine. I got it out of my system. But the makeup definitely accentuates the prettiness of him. There were times where he's a bit more broken down, decrepit, because he takes injury and stuff like that. I liked that look a bit more, where he's a bit more broken down and like at one point an eye's like bugging out. I really like that look. But for the most part, you've got the kind of clean, sleek, skin fused together kind of look. But also there's the continuity of his hair, which starts growing and it just becomes long and beautiful. He's got this like scrap built trench coat, and the silhouette he casts. There's one particular shot, I'll have to try and find it if it's not in the trailers, of him just standing in the snow. This beautiful landscape shot of him just standing there, and it's the silhouette. It's like Freddy Krueger, Mickey Mouse, Batman, just that silhouette that it casts. It just looks so beautiful and iconic. But the voice as well, the accent, just the vocal shifts in his voice were incredible to listen to watch as well. His movements, he starts out pretty much a mute, only knowing one word, and that is Victor. But by the end, like full-blown fluent in beautiful English. Like, he's a beautiful wordsmith by the end. So much so, again, that he's more human than the person that created him, and that's why I always love that bit of poetic irony. But yeah, stand out to me was Jacob Elordi, and the makeup as well was incredible to see. Like, there are instances throughout this film where it can be so gory, but then it's accompanied with such a beautiful orchestral score that you can't help but laugh. It's weird. There's a sequence where Victor is, taking pieces of bodies to create the creature. And it's just accompanied with a beautiful score. And Chloe was watching it and she's like, I don't know whether to be disgusted or charmed. I'm like, well, that's kind of the point. It's that beautiful yin and yang, and then there'll be this beautiful tender moment with the creature interacting with someone or an animal, and then it just gets absolutely barbaric. So when the violence is there, when the gore is there, it's there front and center, but then also it can just be romantic and beautiful, and that's what Frankenstein's all about. So I definitely feel like Del Toro balanced them as best as he could. I didn't feel like it was jarring, even though you kind of could say certain sequences were jarring. But I think that it could be like an analogy for, well, shit happens sometimes. 1 minute you're happy, the next minute you're in absolute and utter turmoil, and you're missing a limb. Happens to all of us, right? So going back to the writing and just the pacing and the structure of the film, I think it may be a bit jarring to some people. I liked it, seeing from different perspective, and it's the epitome of there's two sides to every story. The end as well, I think along with my gripes of seeing more of Mia Goth and the creature's story being a bit more fleshed out, I think the ending kind of just, it goes out, not on a whimper, but it's, again, I'll play the clip of Marge.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
It's an ending, that's enough.
But I think at the same time, Del Toro was probably like, well, how do I do something a bit different that hasn't been done before in terms of wrapping things up for the creature's journey, and where does he go from here? So guys, I definitely recommend checking this one out. Again, it's streaming on Netflix, so you don't have to go out, you don't have to put pants on, but I really wish this had a full-blown proper cinematic run just to experience it up on the big screen. Fuck me, even in IMAX as well. Like I said, the visuals of this film, the costumes, the set design, the makeup, that's worth the price of admission or a subscription alone. Not only that, you've just got all these wonderful performances. Oscar Isaac's given it his absolute best. Mia Goth, you can always rely on to turn in a good performance, though she probably had the shits that she had to use her native English accent and not do a crackerjack American accent. Jacob Elordi, I can't wait to see where this dude goes in a couple of years' time. Like, he's killing it. And he's fascinating to watch in interviews. He's so soft-spoken, much like the creature. But then also you got wonderful supportive performances like Christoph Waltz. Like, it's Christoph Waltz, man. Like, the dude could read the phone book and he charmed the pants off me. And like I said, I would like to have seen more of Mia Goth and the creature's storyline and just their interaction just fleshed out a bit more. It just felt a bit rushed, and then it was kind of like, okay, we're done with that. Now time to move on to the next scene. And also just the way they wrap things up as well. I wasn't like upset or mad with it. I was just like, okay, well, Film's over. And with that, I'm going to be giving Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein 4 bolts out of 5. So guys, if you do check out Frankenstein on Netflix, drop a comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you did happen to catch it in the cinemas, what was that like? I'm like super jealous. But also, what's your favorite look of the creature? To me, I think De Niro's look as the creature in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Probably an unpopular opinion, but it's so gross and gnarly. But like, then also, like, you look at Karloff, like the OG. Karloff's Karloff, and you know, that's the reason why he's transcended throughout all these generations as one of the OG monsters. So yeah, look, this was an interesting look nonetheless. I definitely think they were just keeping with the theme of this is a very handsome actor. We kind of have to keep it that way. But again, there were times throughout the film where he was a bit more broken down, a bit more rotted, and I'm like, that's the look. I like him good looking, but also at the same time, I like him with like an eye hanging out. Either way, love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.